Well, it's a very warm welcome back to second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the 8:15 kickoff at Villa Park, where Aston Villa lead Brentford by 3-0. It's a deserved scoreline. Villa haven't actually done a huge amount in terms of really putting pressure on Brentford. They've just been playing in their attacking style that we know they can play when things are going well. And straight away, Brentford need to show some sort of response, because there was virtually nothing from Brentford in terms of an attacking threat. They had moves down the right and left-hand side, but in terms of actual balls into the penalty area and actually putting pressure on Emi Martinez and his defenders, it's basically just didn't happen for Brentford at all in the first half. They find themselves 3-0 down at the start of the second. So let's hope from the neutral's perspective that Villa still want to keep up the pace and Brentford want to still keep on fighting. Otherwise, it could be a long second half. But Villa win the ball back in midfield, and they're on the attack now with Digne going for goal on the left-hand side. He tried to surprise Flekken at his near post. Flekken does make the save. The ball rebounds into the Brentford penalty area before Vandenberg heads it out. Just to remind you of the two teams very quickly, it's Emi Martinez in goal for Villa with Mati Cash, Ezri Konsa, Tyro Mings and Luca Digne as the four across the back. Boubacar Kamara and Yuri Tielemans are the two holder midfielders, with Leon Bailey, Morgan Rogers and John McGinn as the attacking midfield three, playing behind Ollie Watkins. I'll remind you of the Brentford 11 in just a second. We'll see this Villa corner kick first. But actually, probably would have had time to tell you the Brentford 11, because the referee Lewis Smith is now doing the usual telling the players inside the box not to push and shove each other. They say, of course not, ref, and then they'll do it as soon as the referee walks away. And now here comes the ball in towards these. Oh, Flecken's made a complete mess. Goodness me, what is Mark Flekken doing there? That was back to his early days of Brentford at the start of last season. He comes out for the cross. One-handed punch. It's a terrible punch from Flekken. He actually punches it back towards his own goal, and then he's a two-handed punch to stop it going into the back of the net. It's, well, it would have been, I mean, it still is calamity goalkeeping. At least he manages to just about save his mistake, but not good there from Mark Flekken. For a big and tall keeper, he needs to be better on crosses there. I think he had enough time and space to try and catch that one, rather than trying to play volleyball with it. But we're going to see a corner kick to Villa on the right-hand side. And that will be an in-swinging corner from Luca Digne. It's headed towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Both sets of players, it's saying it should be our ball. Referee agreeing with the Villa version. It's going to be another corner. To the Brentford 11 is Mark Flekken in goal. A back four are Sepp Vandenberg, Nathan Collins, Ethan Pinnock and Keane Lewis-Potter. The two holder midfielders are Yeho Yarmoliuk and Vitaly Janelt, with Brian Mbeumo, Mikkel Damsgaard and Kevin Schade as the attacking three, playing behind a Johan Wissa. It's going to be a corner kick to Villa once again on this right-hand side. I've got some goals to tell you about in the 7:30 kickoffs, as they will start to wind down now towards full time. And here comes the in-swinger from Digne towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Good header away by Pinnock, and then Mbeumo nods that one away, and suddenly Schade could be on the counter, but in fairness to Villa, they had three players quickly tracking back, and the home side now win the ball back. So it's coming up to 90 minutes at Goodison. Everton 4-0 up against Wolves. Manchester City are 3-0 up against Nottingham Forest. It's 3-3 at St James's between Newcastle and Liverpool. So Newcastle thought they were 3-1 up at one stage, or 3-2 up, I should say. And then, no, I beg your pardon. Newcastle thought they were 3-1 up. The goal was disallowed for offside. Then Mo Salah made it 2-2. Then Mo Salah made it 3-2 before Fabian Schär has got an equaliser for Newcastle. That game into its 4th minute of injury time. It's getting worse and worse for Southampton. They were down to 10 men in the first half. They're 5-1 down at home to Chelsea. And it's still goalless at the Emirates between Arsenal and Manchester United, as Villa trying to get on the attack. Nathan Collins is saying that he was having his shirt pulled by Ollie Watkins. Referee, however, Lewis Smith, doesn't agree with that. He feels as though the foul was all of Collins is making. And, I mean, in fairness, Watkins does have a hold of Collins, but I would say it's more Nathan Collins doing the holding rather than Watkins there. I think that referees, that kind of decision is always going to go in favour of the attacking player, particularly when Collins had no eye for the ball whatsoever. All he was doing was trying to stop Ollie Watkins. So then the Republic of Ireland international has absolutely no leg to stand on there, just like Watkins didn't after that hold. It's going to be a free kick to be taken by Tielemans. Trying to send this one long into the Brentford penalty area. So options either side here, Tielemans, but he decides a ball into the box just over the head of Watkins, headed away by Collins. Now, There's a Villa player down inside the box. We play on for now. It was Watkins that hit the deck, but Villa have recycled it, got it back here. It's Digne's ball into the box, which McGinn fires towards goal himself. He miscues it, and it's out for a goal kick after that attempted strike from the Villa captain. And let's have a look here. Watkins is still saying he deserves a penalty. Well, it's a bump off the shoulder, really, there off King Lewis Potter. I'd be amazed if VAR came back and said that's a penalty, but at the same time, you can't rule it out with certainly can't rule it out with these officials. I'd be very surprised. I must say, play has restarted now. No penalty there, and we have no more goalless games in the Wednesday night Premier League fixtures now, as Arsenal have just taken the lead against Manchester United on 54 minutes. Looks like is that Declan Rice? We'll confirm that in just a second as to who the goal scorer is. So yeah, the game's slowly now winding down towards full time. All the games apart from, of course, the one at the Emirates, and this game we're at 51 minutes here at Villa Park. It is Aston Villa 3, Brentford 0. So Unai Emery will certainly be a lot happier than what we saw. We got shots of Unai Emery after about 10 minutes in this game when he was very frustrated. Villa had been put under pressure a couple of times by Brentford, gave a couple of easy balls away in their own half, but it was a very short-lived little flurry there for Brentford, really. As soon as Villa actually started to get the ball down, they found plenty of gaps to try and work their attacks, and they look comfortable now with this 3-0 lead. It's Urian Timber, by the way, with the goal for Arsenal. Declan Rice with the assist. So the Gunners now 1-0 against Manchester United. Of course, Liverpool dropping 2 points. That's confirmed that there is a full-time score at St James's. It's finished Newcastle 3, Liverpool 3. There's a little glimmer there for the sides trying to close the gap on the league leaders, but here come Villa now. They're trying to extend their lead here. It's a ball out towards Bailey on the right-hand side. He gets it into McGinn. McGinn hasn't got the space to shoot, but he finds Watkins. Watkins trying to pull the trigger. Too many Brentford players in the way. He goes back towards Digne. Digne's ball into the box. Watkins with the header, and it's a one-handed save there from Fleck and kept alive here by Rodgers. His cross into the box is headed away by Collins before Mbeumo is able to slide that ball off Rodgers. And I think what's been given there, I think that's been given as a corner kick to Villa, has it, after the initial save? I think there was a debate as to whether Mbeumo had kept the ball in play or not whilst he was chasing it down towards the corner flag. It's a great save from Flecken to save the header from Watkins, because it was a looping header as well. That's clearly listening to his striking coach there, heading the ball back from the direction it came, getting real power on it, but on this occasion Flecken was able to dive across, make the save. But it is going to be a corner kick to Aston Villa. In swinger here from Tielemans, headed away by Yano. It drops to Cash, whose strike goes wide, but actually it's all academic because the referee had spotted a foul inside the Brentford. I think it might have actually been on Yano himself. He's saying that he was being held and then pushed by Rodgers. I mean, there wasn't much in it, but say the referee has been giving those this evening. It's always worth a try. It's the easiest way to end an attack. Flecken now restarting play for Brentford. Clearance down the left-hand side. Up in the air by Cash, who said he was being fouled. It doesn't really matter as far as Villa are concerned, because Konza gets the second ball anyway and goes back towards Emi Martinez. Ball up towards the halfway line. Strong challenge there on McGinn, but no foul. Brentford win it back here with Yarmoliuk now. Making it short to Mbeumo. Right-hand edge of the penalty area. Mbeumo's ball into the box. Whistle with the header. Schade going for it. It's only partially cleared. Drops to Damsgaard, edge of the 6-yard box. Damsgaard slashes it into the back of the net. And Brentford have got a goal in this game. It's taken them 9 minutes in the second half. They are on the board. It's not been the most... Villa are still unhappy. They feel as though there might have been some pushing and shoving there as that goal was scored. I wonder if VAR is going to have a quick check, but at least Brentford give themselves a fighting chance of making this second half look a little bit more interesting. A lot of space here for Yarmoliuk in midfield. Plays the ball in towards Mbeumo, and his ball into the box is headed up awkwardly by Wissa. I think the suggestion was that Schade might have shoved Cash out of the way. And I'll tell you what, looking at that replay, I mean, I'd be surprised, because I think Schade is trying to go for the ball as well. It's not like he's just shoved Matt Cash. There was an attempt to try and head the ball as well. When it gets back to Damsgaard, he keeps his composure. There was still a couple of Villa players in the way. And yeah, VAR, if they even were checking it, it was a very quick check. because we are back underway here now. The goal does stand. 55 minutes gone. Aston Villa 3, Brentford 1 now. And it's Mikkel Damsgaard with the goal, Brentford's Player of the Month for October. So it's good to see that from Damsgaard's point of view, because he's had a tough time of it since he's arrived in the Premier League. A very impressive Euros in 21. A couple of and a season and a half of really good play in Serie A. Came to England and just couldn't quite get into the swing of things. Had a couple of injury problems, fitness problems, and it looked as though he was just going to become a bit of a squad player here. But Damsgaard has too much talent for that, really, and he's found himself to be in a far more first team role recently, as Cash gives away a free kick, and King Lewis Potter, I think he was demanding a yellow card for Matt Cash, and he was right to do it, because I mean Cash has effectively played basketball there in palming that ball out for a throw, but the referee obviously didn't see that. It's just a throw onto Brentford, which Pinnock launches long. It's headed up in the air by Collins. Second ball may drop it to Yarmoliuk, and both sets of players saying it should be our ball. I think in the end might have just been going out for a goal kick, but it's into the arms of Martinez. He restarts play quickly, and Villa on the counter-attack as well. It's Rodgers into McGinn, holds it up on the halfway line and goes back towards Luca Digne. You know, in towards well, Yarmoliuk. Well, there's a strong challenge there from Wisser on Tielemans, but the referee has decided that was a foul there on Yuri Tielemans. I must admit, looking at that live, it didn't look like there was much in it. But the free kick has been given, which is a bit of a get-out-of-jail-free card for Villa, really. But it's back over to Watkins now on the left-hand side. His ball across the penalty area is easily cleared, and Brentford just about survived. Apologies, there was a little bit of a break in our commentary. They're just having a couple of technical issues here, but we are hopefully streaming back live now. 59 minutes gone, unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at Villa Park. Aston Villa 3, Brentford 1. And the visitors had that brief moment there in getting that goal back, but since then, it's been precious little for Brentford. Villa now just trying to get the game back under their control. It's still got half an hour to play. So if Brentford were to get a second goal here, then things could get interesting. But for the time being, it is Villa just quite happy to hold on to the ball here. It's with Cash now down the right-hand side. Up for Kamara to Konza, as Villa just quite happy to keep the ball here in midfield without too much in terms of rush to go forwards. 5 attempts from Villa in this game, 3 of which have been on target. All of them have gone into the back of the net. Brentford have had 2 efforts. 1 of them was on target. That ended up in the back of the net as well. That was the strike from Damsgaard to put Brentford on the board this evening. Back with Nathan Collins. Too much pressure here on Collins. It does have Watkins and McGinn in front of him, but for the time being he's just rolling this ball over towards Ethan Pinnock. Villa, though, playing a high line, pressing high here just to try and restrict Brentford. Of course, there is always that chance. If back down with Damsgaard now on the left-hand side. His ball into the box is only partially cleared. Still kept alive here for Brentford on the right with Mbeumo. Mbeumo gets away from Rodgers. And then it's Yarmoliuk having a go down the right-hand side. The cross is overhit, though. I mean, it's Lewis Potter doing his best to keep it in play, but that's such a shame for Brentford. They had 3 players in the box to try and attack that ball. Now it's great work here down the right for Villa from Leon Bailey. Skips away from 2 players, but then he forgets about the ball. He felt as though it might have been fouled. Referee says no. Lewis Potter now at the edge of the area goes back to Yarmoliuk. He clips the ball into the box, kept alive here by Yano, and Whistle was lurking inside the 6-yard box. Good clearance away, though, by Esri Konza. Brentford try again here now down the left-hand side here with Lewis Potter. Back heel there from Damsgaard. Lewis Potter holds the ball up, goes back to Yarmoliuk and Damsgaard, left-hand edge of the penalty area. There are back in numbers. On the left-hand side here, played back towards Yarmoliuk. Under real pressure there from Watkins, doesn't want to take the chance, so he decides just to go back all the way to his goalkeeper. Flecken now. Bring it up, going over towards the right-hand side here. Collins spots the run of Vandenberg. And there's an overlap there from Mbeumo. He gets there first. He plays that ball off Rodgers and he wins Brentford a corner. So yeah, just you can see Mbeumo just turning to those travelling Brentford fans in that corner where Brentford are attacking now in the second half. Just trying to get them off their feet. So you've still got just under half an hour to play. And so Brentford going to be making a change here as well. Looks like Paris Magoma is getting ready to come on. Just to confirm who is going to be replacing. But we're going to see this corner kick first. Usual stuff here from the referee, telling the players not to push and shove. See this out swinger now. It's heading towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's only partially cleared. There's still a chance here. Strike coming in there from Yarmoliuk. Brentford have their hands up saying there was a handball inside the box. Nothing doing live, but it's Lewis Potter's ball back into the penalty area, and Mbeumo's waiting to pull the trigger. Digne is there with the header, and it is out for a corner kick to Brentford. I must admit, looking at it live, I couldn't see. We'll have a look at this replay. Is there any kind of argument at all to say it might have been a handball? I think even if there is, it's so close. There's less than it's a yard away, so there's no way that the Villa man could have got out of the way in time. Seems like an easy decision there not to worry about any kind of penalty. It's going to be another corner kick to Brentford. Another in-swinger from Mbeumo. Really lifts this one towards the back post. And it's nodded away. Second ball should be Aston Villa's there, and it's going to be as well after Bailey draws the foul. Just a little bit too physical in trying to keep Brentford in possession. Now for a throw to Villa down the right-hand side. Just seeing Mikkel Damsgaard, Brentford's goal scorer. See there as he fainted away from Kamara, finishing into the roof of the net. And that's, of course, we're near the best goal we've seen this season. That award has to go to Morgan Rodgers. It was a fantastic goal from him. But we're going to see a double change here for Villa, with Duran coming on here to replace Watkins. And it looks like it's, Bailey's going to be going off here as well to be replaced by Jaden Philogene. Unai Emery seeing this as a good chance now. Some fresh legs on with 25 minutes to go. Give his attack a bit of a shot in the arm. Now, I mentioned that Brentford were getting ready to bring on Paris Magoma. He's on the field now. Just to confirm in a moment who he's replaced. He's replaced Yeho Yarmoliuk. Potentially just trying to make that midfield a little bit more attacking. There's a strong challenge there from Duran on Collins, which straight away the referee wasn't too happy about. I'm sure if Duran's got a booking, that would have been one of the quickest in the Premier League history, I think, coming off the bench. And he has got a booking. Well, that will be very, very interesting. The statisticians will be definitely checking the seconds on that one. Oh, it's not. So I was going to say that one from Gillespie, of course, is very famous, but I think that was in the Championship, wasn't it? But in any case, John Duran is on the field and he's in the book already. So is Jaden Philogene. A confirmation as well that Paris Magoma is on to replace Yeho Yarmoliuk. It's a free kick to Brentford after that. It's a challenge from John Duran. It's going to be a long ball here from Flecken towards the edge of the Villa penalty area. It's nodded forward. Headed away here by Konze. Still kept alive, though, by Vandenberg. He tried to play that square. Easily cleared back into midfield. For trying again, though, here down the left-hand side with Mikkel Damsgaard. It's a strong challenge there from it is a strong challenge. It's going to be a free kick. Wasn't sure initially if the referee was going to give that, but Philogene just takes a bit too much of Damsgaard. Brentford take it quickly. It's Lewis Potter's ball into the box, which is always too close to Emi Martinez. Makes a easy save in the end. Martinez now just taking his time here as well. To go. Still at 3, Brentford 1, and just a quick check of the other game. It is still 1-0 to Arsenal against Manchester United, which would be a big win for Arsenal, only because Liverpool have dropped a couple of points. Arsenal, if they can hold on to that 1-0 lead, they will be level with Chelsea on 28, 7 points behind Liverpool. Have just the one defeat this season at home to Nottingham Forest. That was in that where Forest were playing some superb stuff, and being a famous old club, straight away some of the pundits waxing lyrical about Champions League potential and all of that. It's always very early. I remember when Postecoglou had his first few games at Spurs, he was going to win the league, wasn't he? And that didn't quite work out. So it's better just to keep your powder dry with a sort of quick long-term predictions like that. But the ball now played back towards Emi Martinez, being closed down here by Wissa. Martinez does get his clearance in, but because he was rushed by Wissa, the ball out towards Cash is just a little bit too far away from him. Wasn't able to keep it in play. It's going to be a throw to Brentford, back towards Ethan Pinnock now. He goes square to Vandenberg. And the ball now back towards the goalkeeper, Fleck, and long clearance from Flecker there down the left to try and pick out Lewis Potter. He gets there first, he heads it on, but there was nobody close enough to that one to actually use it for Brentford. With Martinez again. So I was always fearful of this kind of slow stop and start second half. Brentford have got a goal to at least make it a little bit more competitive, but still trailing by 3-1. Villa will be very comfortable. It's a long ball now down the middle from Martinez, aiming at John Duran, and it needed a strong header out from Pinnock to make sure that the ball didn't reach the Colombian. Pinnock really waited until the last second, but he is good defending because John Durant was at full pace there. Thumb up there from Duran as well for his goalkeeper for the idea. Digne now takes the throw. Gets the ball straight back here, Digne. And then goes all the way back towards the halfway line where Konsa is being closed down. Towards his goalkeeper Martinez. Clearance from Martinez taken down here quickly by Lewis Potter. The right-hand side in now for Visser. So back in towards Magoma. Just holding on to this one. So for the time being, Brentford are just very happy here in possession with Mbeumo. A long way from goal, of course, but they'll be very happy that they can at least stop. Villa have had limited attacks in the second half, but of course they've done all their hard work in the first half. So back the right-hand side, all out for a throw. And there's going to be a double change here for Brentford now. You can see it's going to be Igor Thiago and Fabio Carvalho coming on, but before that there's going to be a defensive midfield change here for Villa with Boubacar Kamara coming off and Ross Barkley coming on to replace him. Just as I say that, we have a second goal at the Emirates, and it's not an equaliser for Manchester United. It's Arsenal 2, Manchester United 0. So just waiting for confirmation of the goal scorer in that one, but confirmation here as well. Ross Barkley is on to replace Boubacar Kamara, and as far as Brentford are concerned, I mentioned Igor Thiago and Fabio Carvalho. They're both on the field now here for the Bees. It's Kevin Schade and Johan Wissa were both off the field. Goal-scoring heroes for Brentford at the weekend, but it hasn't quite worked out for them this evening. It's home to Leicester under a new manager, or away to Villa under Unai Emery, who are in the Champions League this season and desperate to rediscover their form. Well, it was always going to be a much more difficult evening for Brentford tonight than it was at home on Saturday. Said though, the Bees are trying their luck again. It's a good ball in from Mbeumo to Igor Thiago, skies that one over the bar. Good early ball this from Mbeumo to try and pick out the big Brazilian, but on this occasion Thiago just trying to go for a real power finish, looks up, sees where Martinez is, and his effort looks like it was was always going to be over. And even if that was on target, it was pretty much heading straight down the middle as well. So I really wouldn't expect Martinez to have any kind of problems with something like that. Now I can say that that's a second Arsenal goal. It was scored by, looks like the goal was scored by William Saliba, but now there's a delay at the Emirates whilst they have a VAR check. And here Villa have lost the ball, having played out from the back. It's Damsgaard breaking into the penalty area. Back towards Janelt, his ball into the box is headed away only as far as, well, it was Mings' header away. It dropped at the edge of the area. Attempted header there from Vandenberg. He gets that all wrong. And then it's cleared back into midfield, but Brentford win it back quickly here with Janelt. Back towards Lewis Potter. More space here now for Damsgaard on the left-hand side. Feeds that ball in. Igor Thiago's back heel. Doesn't quite reach its intended target of Vitaly Janelt. And then the ball is quickly cleared, and it's going to be a free kick to Villa. The referee decided that he's going to bring play back for that one. Martinez now. Surprised to see that he's taking his time here. The goalkeeper. Long clearance here from Martinez. Straight down the middle. It's a bouncing. Oh, it's going to be a great ball this from Martinez, and Flecken actually lets the ball go past him. Goodness me, that would have been one of those comical goals you would have seen time and time again had it gone in. It's Martinez's long clearance straight down the middle. And yeah, it looked a little bit awkward there for a second between Flecken and Duran, but the Brentford goalkeeper just about makes up for that. He's had a couple of nervy moments this evening, Mark Flecken. Just to remind you again, as far as the next couple of games for these two sides, Villa at home to Southampton on Saturday before they're away to RB Leipzig and then away to Nottingham Forest, whereas Brentford have got a game against Newcastle in the league at home on Saturday. They then travel away to Chelsea in a Sunday night 7 p.m. game on the 15th, and then they play Newcastle again on the 18th in a League Cup game. Carabao Cup, Brentford in the quarter-finals of that, but traditionally Brentford don't do particularly well against Newcastle. They've had a win against the Magpies since their arrival in the Premier League 4 seasons ago now. Just giving Villa a free kick there. I think it was Igor Thiago. A bit too physical. Ezri Konza, the former Brentford man in this Villa team. That's a free kick. It was pretty blatant there from Paris Magoma. And I think the frustration here is from Brentford that the referee's giving these free kicks. But I suppose from Villa's perspective, well, if you're 3-1 up at home against a busy side that are trying to get in your face, and you can take the sting out of it, you can slow everything down and just draw a couple of fouls. But why wouldn't you do that? It's Brentford are giving Villa the chance. But here's a chance now for Villa. Oh, the ball's through the middle, and it's Duran with the strike. It goes just wide, but it was almost like it happened in slow motion there. I wonder if the final touch actually came off of Brentford. Barkley takes the free kick quickly. Rodgers then has all the space he needs to thread a ball through to Duran, and it's actually really good work there from a covering Sepp Vandenberg. He puts the foot in. The ball then deflects away from Duran and onto Flecken, who has to then make the save before the ball goes out for a corner. So Villa set piece now from the left-hand side. See Flecken desperate to try and get his defenders organised. It's going to be an in-swinger here from Tielemans, and it's headed over the bar. We've had 10 efforts on target in this game, and 9 of them have been from the home side. That last effort from Mings wasn't on target. He heads it over. So in the end, consider that stat in itself. Shows really has been quite a long evening for Brentford, really. So another team that Brentford traditionally don't do particularly well against since their Premier League return, that's Aston Villa. Was fired just before Emery got the job officially a couple of seasons ago. Even that game, Villa absolutely cruised it. 3 or 4 up inside of 15 minutes on that particular occasion. It's been a good evening for the home side. I'll be very happy to get back to winning. I say like it's a foregone conclusion. I mean, I'm not really excluding or discounting Brentford completely yet, but it's been tough going for the Bees. They got their 1 goal back relatively early in this second half, but since then, been tough for them to put any kind of real pressure on Emi Martinez. I'd say that one effort on target stat is good proof of that, really. To keep possession here in midfield, though, are the visitors. Long ball now from Janelt, kept alive here by Lewis Potter. Runs straight into trouble, though. Damsgaard now trying to win the ball back for Brentford on the left-hand side. Couldn't quite do it. The ball plays off. Damsgaard last, in fact, after a challenge from Esri Konza. This will be a throw on to Aston Villa now down the right-hand side. Unai Emery, as we would expect, never gives too much away. In terms of his expression, whether Villa are 4-0 up or 4-0 down, he pretty much looks the same on the touchline. But I'm sure he'll be very pleased internally that his side are 3-1 up here, and after a... it's always a difficult one, isn't it, after a team surprises themselves by getting a Champions League place. The intensity of that competition, even on a big squad like Aston Villa's, is always going to be tough. And also as well now, of course, it's exciting, there's this new format, but it does also mean that Champions League group stage, or league stage as it is now, carries on up until the end of January. We'll come back to that in a second, because Brentford are on the attack now through the middle here with Fabio Carvalho, whose strike is deflected and out for a corner. It was just a patient build-up really from Brentford down the left-hand side. The ball found its way to Carvalho after good work from Lewis Potter and Damsgaard down the left. Carvalho takes a touch, makes his mind up quickly. You can see Lewis Potter was hopping and frustrated there. So was Mbeumo. Lewis Potter wanted a through ball into the box, and Mbeumo wanted to be set up for one of his favoured left-footed efforts from the right-hand side of the penalty area. Carvalho's effort, though, takes a big deflection and goes out for a corner kick. Brentford, in the meantime, are getting ready to make another change. Their fourth substitute is going to be Danish international Mads Røslev. Tends to play as a right-back, can play as an emergency left-back, but it's Mbeumo's ball in from the corner. Oh, that's heading towards goal. And Emi Martinez, as he likes to do, catches the ball, no problem, but then decides to fall on it as well, just in case. Just in case. As I say, if Villa were 2-1 down now, he wouldn't be doing that. But of course, that's all within the licence of the goalkeeper there. It's, famously retired striker Bobby Zamora, who was always the one who liked to count the 6 seconds with his with his fingers when he could see the goalkeeper just taking too long to restart play. So Villa, once again, I mean, this is what will infuriate Unai Emery. I made a joke about Martinez taking a little bit longer to catch and then fall on the ball to kill a few seconds. Then Villa doing what they do, play out from the back, and then they make a complete mess of it. They've given the ball away now. It's going to be a throw on to Brentford in Villa territory. There's going to be a change now from, as I mentioned, it's going to be Mads Røslev to come on, and it's King Lewis Potter who gets the hook. He's had a good game, I think. He's had a good few weeks now, I think, the former Hull City man. Finding his feet now that he's getting a little bit more, a lot more game time. It's Røslev on now. These final 11 minutes. It's going to be a throw to Brentford on the left. It's launched long here by Ethan Pinnock. Headed on, but it's then straight onto the head of John Duran, who heads it away. Kept alive here by Janelt, back towards Pinnock. Pinnock's cross is charged down. I mean, that would have been a collector's item. Pinnock with the crossing assist there for Brentford, but it's Duran with the block. And now Pinnock doing what he's much better at, I would argue, which is a long throw into the box. So that said, I'm sure he could whip in a decent cross if he needed to. He's more used to receiving then. The ball into the box from Pinnock is headed clear by Ross Barkley. Then it's Pinnock and Røslev, who between them left the ball for each other initially before Pinnock does get there first. He plays it back towards goalkeeper Flecken, who then sends it long towards the edge of the area. There's going to be a free kick there going Aston Villa's way, because Tyrone Mings was pretty much clattered into there as he tried to go for the ball. And as I say, Mings, who's missed so much football, August 23 was the last time he started a game for Aston Villa. It's fantastic to see him back, but that's welcome back to the Premier League, mate. He got bundled into the back there, Tyrone Mings, which is ironic, of course, because fully fit, fully firing Tyrone Mings would like to do that to opposition players, of course, to assert his dominance inside the penalty area. So it's going to be free kick to Villa now at the edge of their own box. Emi Martinez sending it long towards the edge of the Brentford penalty area. It's cleared back into midfield. Strong challenge there in the middle of the park. That will be a free kick to visitors from West London. There may be a booking here as well. Lewis Smith, our referee, is in no doubt. Matt Cash, I was going to say the Poland international, but currently he's actually a former Polish international. Cash hasn't made the last two squads. I think he was fit for one and injured for the other one. But, was a section of the Polish press that made a comment about the fact that he hasn't learnt enough Polish. I know that was an accusation labelled at Ben Brereton Diaz, the Southampton striker, who's been dropped by Chile for the same reason. But I think in Cash's case, the truth is that his form has dipped just slightly. Said, I'm sure that there are that many better options in terms of a right back for Poland rather than a regular Premier League starter. But have to work a little bit harder now, Matt Cash, if he's going to get back into the setup there. The World Cup qualifiers, of course, starting in late March. It does feel weird to say that. Of course, we're less than 2 years away from the World Cup in Canada, US and Mexico. We've not had a single European qualifier yet. The other confederations have got things started. Of course, with our Nations League, trying to sort of catch up the football schedule after the delays and everything else. But yeah, March is when those get underway. Emi Martinez now taking a long clearance here for Villa, and it's headed on by Duran, and it drops straight to Rodgers. Rodgers gets to the edge of his strike. He's blocked, but it's a second chance here for Villa now down the left-hand side with John McGinn. He just holds it up, tries to run past Vandenberg, but the Brentford man saw through that. And then Mbeumo and Igor Thiago between them somehow managed to lose the ball, even though they easily had possession. So it's McGinn again now for Villa, in towards Dino's cross. It is actually well claimed this time by Mark Flecken. For a second, as though he might have just missed that one, but he does well to save it. Towards the halfway line. Quickly though, Brentford win it back after a bit of miscontrol there in the park from Philogene. And now here is Rodgers heading down the left-hand side here for Villa towards the edge of the area, but his ball into the box easily saved there by Flecken. Quick look across to the other game. Yeah, there was a VAR check, but Arsenal do lead 2-0 against Manchester United. That game is about 3 minutes ahead of ours. They had a lot less injury time in the first half than we did. Just 2 efforts on target from Manchester United in that game, looking at the stats. Of course, Arsenal-Manchester United it's still a huge fixture in English football, of course it is, but slightly different levels, I think, for the 2 clubs at the moment. United will be hoping that under their new manager, it's all going to change going forward. Have lost the ball here as they were trying to attack down the Villa right, and it's Rodgers. Still a good game tonight. Brings the ball away here for the home side. He finds Barkley in the middle of the park, just rolls it back towards Tielemans. Tielemans then plays it square to Cash. Back to Konza. Goes square to Mings on the left-hand side. He sends a ball over the top. It's a really good call as well to pick out Digne. Digne then plays it square. It's set up for Duran, who goes for goal. It's a good save from Flecken. I mean, he shouldn't have really had the chance to save it. Duran's 10, 12 yards out. He's got all the goal to aim at. It's a powerful strike. Takes a touch. I mean, there are Brentford players trying to close him down, but it's a really good save from Flecken as well. He gets his body behind that to make sure he can get a really good, powerful save on it. Pushes it away before Mbeumo is just quite happy to side that out. It looks like he's gone out for a corner. In the meantime, there's going to be a double change here for Villa. It's Emi Buendia. Looks like, I'm just trying to see the other players. I think that was Maatsen stood behind him. We'll confirm that in just a second, but it looks like it is going to be the Argentine and the Dutchman to come on here for Aston Villa. So first we're going to see this Villa corner. It's going to be an in-swinger from Tielemans towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's headed away. Drops to McGinn, who then sends a floating ball back towards Tielemans here on the left-hand side. He gets there just ahead of Damsgaard, then goes back towards Barkley. Barkley runs into Damsgaard and loses the ball as a result of that. Damsgaard does really well, and he holds the ball up and tries to send one down for Mbeumo, which is blocked by Barkley, so he quickly returns the favour, and Villa have the ball back here in midfield now. 86 minutes gone. Unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary. It is Aston Villa 3, Brentford 1. Villa led 3-0 at half-time. Brentford really barely laid a glove on the home side. Can't exactly say that they've been much better in the second, but there have been a few moments at least where they've tried to put a bit more pressure on. But it's going to be a double change, as I mentioned here, for Villa, and it is going to be Morgan Rodgers to go off. Rodgers goes off to be replaced by Emi Buendia. must be worried by all this talk of how good Rodgers has become over the last few months. Because of course, Buendia is Aston Villa's original number 10 in terms of his squad number, and he would have been very concerned, of course, with his injury problems. Maatsen is the other player on here for Aston Villa, and Maatsen coming on for John McGinn. I do wonder whether Maatsen's actually going to play. I mean, we've only got a few minutes to actually to go in this game. But, considering that Rodgers played most of this game as the unofficial left winger, I had McGinn down as being on the left, but he always prefers to play through the middle anyway. But now with Maatsen on, it's going to be a rare opportunity for Maatsen to actually play as the left forward winger rather than the sort of left back or the six inverted fullback, whatever they want to be called these days. So it's you're allowed to call them wing backs because that's from an old tactic from back in the day. But of course, these things do get recycled, renamed, rejigged. And as I say, I'm waiting for, as I mentioned in the first half, I'm waiting for the day when a top coach suddenly says, sod all this playing out from the back, we're going long ball for permanently from now on. You're not allowed to play out from the back. I wonder if that's ever going to come back into football. I'd be very surprised, but you never know. In the meantime, we're back with Villa on the attack down the right-hand side with John Duran. Playing it back towards Cash. All the way back now towards the edge of the Villa penalty area. Just a little bit more comfortable now, Aston Villa. That's a little spell just before and just after Brentford scored their only goal. You never felt as though Villa were under real pressure, but you just felt as though if Brentford could make things just a little bit more interesting, if they could get a second goal, then maybe all the doubts from the last few weeks would creep back into Aston Villa. But actually, they've looked very assured going forward, and they're going forward again here now on the home side with Digne down the left-hand side, exchanging a quick pass there with Maatsen, and puts the ball in, which just angles away from Duran. Should be kept alive here down the right-hand side by Jayden Philogene. He goes back in towards Matt Cash. Halfway line here with Konza and Mings. To Digne. The left-hand side taken down here by Vandenberg. That's a poor ball. Vandenberg does well to win the ball back from him, but then his touch there takes it straight to a Villa player. And so the attack carries on. It's Barkley's effort, which, well, it takes a big deflection. I thought Flecken had enough time to avoid giving away a corner, but he actually just confirms it's going to be a corner. He gets a hand to it, but he can't keep it away from going out for a Villa corner. So it's going to be another set piece here for the home side. It's going to be Digne coming across to take this one. 15 corners in the game. I don't remember Brentford getting 5, although in fairness they got 2 or 3 in a row. They really put too much pressure on Martinez with those set pieces, though. Like Flecken, who has been under pressure with some of the corners he's had to face this evening. See what Digne can do this time. Left-footed in-swinger from the right-hand side. It just goes over the head of Duran, and then quick ball out here from Damsgaard finding Mbumo, and suddenly Mbumo is up towards the half, and there was a chance to try and play it in towards Fabio Carvalho. Mbumo then being a little bit too physical and trying to win the ball back, and it will be a free kick to Aston Villa. We've had the full 90 now. Anthony Taylor, our fourth official, confirming there's going to be 5, is that minutes added? Had that much time lost, but it looks like, must admit, over the last 2 or 3 weeks I've noticed that the added time has just started to creep up a little bit higher. I think there was, of course, we had that spell at the beginning of the season when we were getting or the beginning of last season I should say, when we were getting huge amounts of added time, 10-12 minutes in every half. That proved to be very unpopular. We sort of reverted back to the usual sort of 3 or 4 minutes, and now just in the last month or so seems like they're just getting a little bit I mean, it's worth pointing out that you never get that time back in full anyway, you know. And just had my commentary before. I apologise if I'm repeating myself, but I really do think that it would be worth experimenting at certain levels of football just to see how it would play out if you had a stop clock. Just every time the ball goes out of play for a throw, a goal kick, just stop the clock, and you watch how quickly players stop wasting time when they realise it makes absolutely no difference. They realise that every single second of the 45 actually has to be played. People think that every half would take an hour and 10 minutes. No, it wouldn't. Because players would very quickly realise what they need to do, and they wouldn't waste any time. But another rant over, and we're down the right-hand side here with Brentford now. Brian Mbumo heading towards the edge of the penalty area. It's stopped by Digne. A throw to Brentford down the right-hand side. Long here now by Ethan Pinnock, and it's all over, by the way, at the Emirates. I mentioned that game was a few minutes ahead of us. Arsenal have now beaten Manchester United by 2-0 to go level with Chelsea in second place to close the gap on Liverpool, as Brentford had the throw initially cleared, and it's Carvalho keeps the ball alive, plays it down the left-hand side and now for Thiago, trying to get away from Cash. Thiago then pings the ball towards the edge of the penalty area. It's kept alive here by Pinnock, back towards Vitaly Janelt. Janelt's ball gets a big deflection, and it ends up with Jadon Philogene, who's off down the middle this time for Villa, cut in from the right, and he's straight through the middle here now, Jadon Philogene, over the halfway line. Just waiting to see where his teammates might be. Back towards Digne. Just holding it up momentarily. Maybe back towards the edge of his own penalty area. Unai Emery overall will be very happy with the way this game has gone this evening. It's not been a vintage, brilliant performance from Aston Villa, but it didn't need to be. What it needed to be was just a comfortable home win without too many incidents, and I think that's exactly what Villa have had tonight. They've had a couple of little moments where they've had to weather a bit of a storm, but actually they've looked comfortable from start to finish, which is something they haven't looked like over the last 5 or 6 weeks. So I think in that sense, he'll be very pleased, Emery, that his team have got back to winning ways. And as I mentioned, I don't want to sort of heap the pressure on Southampton, but the way that Southampton are playing right now, I don't see Southampton turning up here to Villa Park on Saturday and getting a result. So I would expect Villa to win that game as well. Then they're away to RB Leipzig before getting back to Premier League duty with a trip to Forest, and then a game at home to Man City. So really, the next home game Villa should be winning. In the next 2 away games in Europe and in the Premier League, they'll fancy their chances of taking something at the very least before that massive game against Manchester City just before Christmas. And of course, City having beaten Nottingham Forest tonight, it may well be that City are going to be back to normal service by then, so that could be a much tougher game for Villa than it would be if they were to play it, say, this week or last week. In the meantime, Vitaly Janelt with a strike for Brentford. It goes a long way over the bar, though. That nicely sums up how Brentford's night has got in front of goal this evening. Been a particularly happy performance here from Thomas Frank's side at all. As I say, they've had a decent start to the season. Their home form has been superb. Their away form has been dismal, it has to be said. Just a 1 point away from home against Everton. They've dropped a couple of leads as well. They have had some top opponents, but that said, Brentford do need to be a little bit more watertight in terms of their defending on the road. They do leave too many gaps, and their set-piece defending is still leaving a lot to be desired. But take nothing away from Aston Villa. Started off with that brilliant goal from Morgan Rogers early on. We've got one more attack maybe here for Brentford. We're over the 5 minutes now, but Brentford are in possession just at the edge of the Villa penalty area. He's got to be quick here. Paris Magoma feeds that ball in towards Carvalho, who flicks the ball in towards Igor Thiago. He's not able to get after it, and the referee, Lewis Smith, calls time here at Villa Park, where it's been a good night for Aston Villa. Not a particularly good night for Brentford, but Unai Emery will be very pleased. His team are back to winning ways, and they've beaten Brentford here by 3-1. From myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, thank you very much. Do join us again soon.